Hi there, welcome once again to the Single Dads Unplugged. We are shooting in Johannesburg. This is 2024 International Men's Summit. It's powered by EmpowaMen, and we are so excited because it's just incredibly awesome to see so many men in one venue sharing stories, sharing insights, and listening to other big speakers as well. With me, I don't have to introduce this gentleman. You've seen him a couple of times in our network from season 2 to season 3 and also season 4, and here he is now. Nebza, welcome, my brother.
Thank you, my brother.
Good to see you. What have you seen inside? I know you came this morning, and I think you were listening to some of the speakers. What's your sense this time around in terms of the energy in the conference?
I sense so much honesty.
Really?
And so much transparency.
Okay.
You know, when you're seeing men in one room just being honest about themselves,
opening up,
and being honest about each other and opening up.
Yes.
Wisdom from Dr. John Kani.
Hey, John Kani. Everyone is raving about him.
You sit down and think, okay, this thing is not new.
It's not new.
It comes back. Now we're giving it a name, we're calling it GPV, we're giving it a name, we're calling it mental health. Yeah. And why should we be grateful under all the circumstances that we're under?
And it's a good thing, and we are opening up, and we are even more comfortable to raise. I was talking to someone else, scars of men are so hidden and unseen. And by the time, that's why the suicide for men is so high, because these things build up and you can't suppress them forever. But when we hear people come out like this, it's such a wonderful thing to see.
It's such, if only the world could be like this space, could be as safe as this space. But then the world is not as safe.
No.
You know, social media is not safe. You want to address something as a man, from a man's point of view, you want to address your pain, your grief, you are attacked.
Hey, you are attacked.
You are cancelled.
You are victimized.
You are victimized.
You are judged.
You might lose your job. You might lose your dignity. You know, there's everything at risk that, from addressing your pain that is eating you, and then it eats you.
It eats you, and it eats you forever. But tell me, coming here, I know you were with me here in April or May this year.
Yeah.
What is your big expectation in terms of how this network is evolving, as well as the topics that we are actually listening to? What was your expectation, or the topics to hear more about?
You know what I was really interested to hear about us touching on, which we touched on a little bit. A gentleman by the name of Craig.
Craig,
touched on that.
Yes.
As in, what's the root cause?
Of all of these issues.
Of all of these issues. We might look at why you stay shy umfazi, why you banbane senza kanjena, why you banbane zibulele. Kusukaphi? What's the root cause? That's what we're not investigating. Because there's no man who's born violent.
No.
You'll never come out of your mother's womb violent. Something happens in the process.
And it builds up
over time. Or it catches you so umdala. It catches you sekunzima. There's many men, including myself, who have thought ukuthi umhlaba uyanishaya, no. And you know there's someone who's behind this mhlaba ukushayayo. Cabanga ukuthi this person is killing my career, this person is killing my name, this person is destroying my name. And then you think,
and you've told your story so many times, but how have you dealt with the ridicule, the judgment, and people, the attacks? I mean, tell your own story. How did you turn it around? I know some of it is still ongoing, but how have you managed to deal with it? You know, people, I mean, you are in public space, you are a public figure. I'm sure it just takes a toll on you sometimes.
It takes a toll a lot, my brother. It takes a toll.
How did you carry the load?
And your self-esteem goes, because now I can't look at you the same way I was confidently looking at you yesterday, because I know what you read about me. Walking into a shop.
And people interpret.
You know, walking into a shop, you're like, okay, these people read about me yesterday. You know,
Yeah.
you at the traffic lights. When someone is looking at you, you're thinking, they're looking at you for what? Yeah, there's
For
the
what?
guy. There's the guy. Like there was
And someone is looking.
There was a point I was in Midrand, I was emceeing women's thing.
An event, yeah.
An event.
Yeah.
So now, all the officialities are done.
Yes.
I'm out having a drink at the balcony.
And you are socializing.
I'm
yes.
socializing.
Yeah.
And then there's two girls I've never seen from a bar, so came to me, going on about
the things
how
they are hearing,
terrible I am,
and they are
hearsays
reading
and the
about.
whatnot, things that they've been reading about, you know. And this
That
time I've got a client, I've got someone
Next
who
to
paid me to be there, you know.
Who's listening?
Who's listening to this? Well, like, so it's when you have to man up, you know. You man up.
And in that space of time, it's hard to convince this person that it's actually not this
How
way.
do you even start?
How do you even start?
How do you even start? You know, because the minute
They've already taken a position. Ukuthi it's true, whatever they are reading.
they've already taken a position, and the best trick to do or to deal with that, to everyone who's listening, or especially who's in my space, don't respond.
Yo,
Die. That's the only way.
Ish.
Take those
And
punches.
sometimes something
Take
inside
those
of you.
punches. Take those punches
Absorb.
and let it heal. Let the dust settles and then deal with it. Because the minute so and so that you don't even know writes
And the more
about
you're trying to justify
and then you're
yourself.
trying to justify, and then you get other thousand of unknown people
that are latching.
they
on
are
that
just
thing.
looking for hype or for whatsoever.
Looking for the wrong energy.
But on that note, just to close it off.
Go ahead.
Who's the gentleman that walked in late? Doctor.
Ola ngaphakathi.
Yes,
Hayibo.
that old gentleman. He said, under any circumstances,
Yes.
you can only win these battles that we face as men by loving ourselves first.
Oh, yes to that.
Yes to that.
That's
And then
powerful.
I was
Yes
like,
to that.
that's exactly what I did.
That's powerful.
That's exactly what I did. Because
Work
if you-
on yourself
work on yourself and love yourself.
and love yourself.
You know, you cannot be out of character if you love
Yes.
yourself. If you forget
And-
about yourself and forget loving yourself,
some of the things exactly, and you're gonna retaliate. You're gonna respond.
Now you forget about the person that you are.
I like it. And by the way, when you love yourself enough, Baba Nebza, certain things are gonna deflect.
Yeah.
They're gonna bounce. They're gonna bounce.
brother.
They're gonna bounce
Trust me,
and
they're
go
gonna
somewhere else. And I want to come to this idea. Just before we came on set, we were talking about men and you and your network and the Single Dads network reaching out more in communities. I was actually saying to Usem Muhopa from Kids Haven that we know where men are. Taverns, sports events, we know where men are. We know where boys are in the streets. Our work is more out there, not so much in conferences. Yeah?
Done.
Share that with us because if we can do more of that, we change the narrative, we change the stigma, we change stereotypes.
Beautiful.
Being in communities, finding people,
taking this wisdom and this knowledge to the people.
sharing.
Because I was sitting there, I'm looking at like I received an invite, an exclusive invite because I am Andile Nebulane.
Ngoba u-Andile.
You received an invite because you run Single Dads Network.
Yeah.
Everyone who's here who received an invite is someone who's
What about
relevant,
the ordinary?
is someone who's clued up.
And who's access to internet, because most of this is advertised on the internet.
Exactly. And where
An ordinary person.
do we find more GBV?
Yeah.
Where do we find more killings?
Akukho kubantu
Where do we
aba-affluent.
find out about like nasty things
It's
that
not affluent.
you would never hear about those things? But,
you don't.
but why don't we go there? So
And
now I'm
find
saying,
an impact.
And impact. Find those people in the taverns, you know.
Those are the people that are fighting.
I remember back in the days while I was still in high school,
Yeah.
there was a lot of educational theatre.
Oh, by the way, yes, yeah.
Educational
that's where
theatre
you were telling me.
is a tool that can be very useful for change. Back then, if there's TB, there would be a road show going all over the country educating us about TB. Even when HIV, there would be a road show. You know, that would be entertaining and educating at the same time. That's why it's called edutainment. Edutainment, yeah. So that is needed. Then we engage those. I said to Tatu John Kani.
Hey, this is powerful.
I said to Tatu John Kani.
Yeah.
I will hunt you down and find you and sit down with you. I'm working on a piece about the issues that we are talking about.
It is raising.
That we're going to take it into theater and tour the world.
Wow. That is powerful. I hope you're not going to leave us behind. Because this is exactly what we want to do. And someone was asking me, what's your followership on the... I said, guys, we are not about followership or subscribers. We want to impact... We're not about that. Even if there's one follower or there's one subscriber, the work is on the ground. The work that we have to do is on the ground.
The people that we need to deal with are the people that don't have Instagram. They don't have Twitter.
They don't have
YouTube. Phones,
YouTube. They don't see this.
You know, they don't see this. Those are the people we need to impact.
Because those are the
all of us that are here now, we can
join
multiply together and multiply and say, okay, stay single dads.
How many?
Go to Limpopo.
Exactly.
Andile Nebulane. Go to Kwakwa.
Speak to men.
Speak to men.
Speak to boys.
Go to tavern. Go there.
That's where the work is.
There's a thing called role playing.
Yeah.
I hope this conversation catches a right ear.
Wow. Please go ahead.
There's a thing called role playing. It's used in corporate, where you take me and you.
Yes.
We go get a case of beer at tavern. We are role playing.
We sit
there
and be like them.
And be like them. In the midst of things, we engage them in the conversation like this.
We don't come dressed in
with banners.
Yeah.
They will only figure out later. This is what is happening.
Wow. It's almost like mysterious shopping.
Exactly.
We are shopping as though we are like them, but we engage in conversation.
We engage in conversation.
And ask questions.
Role playing is powerful.
That's beautiful.
There's a role playing that I did.
I think we should do that.
I think we should do that. No, we need to. I'm telling you, it's magical. It's fun.
We don't bring cameras. We just say, guys, let's talk. We buy whatever it's Chisanyama, because men in Chisanyama are broken.
It's like being a private detective.
It's a
private detective.
They use those escapes, whether it's women or alcohol, to escape the issues.
From the issues but the issues will never disappear.
No. They only get
men conversing about sport. I'm not a fan of sport.
Yeah.
But you would hear when they're talking about this. I don't want to name clubs.
Yeah.
When they're talking about this team or this team,
the energy.
You see the energy. Yeah. Imagine we go into those spaces and then we ignite a conversation like this.
We change the conversation.
Yeah, we change the conversation like
How are things in your family? How are things? Have you got kids? How is your relationship with the kids?
You know.
Because imagine if you transfer that energy into parenting.
Exactly.
Into family. Imagine.
You know, in our communities, when my brothers say, people would say I'm lying.
Yeah.
There are communities where it's cool to slap a woman. But I used to tell you, I'm shy.
It's almost like an accolade.
Yeah,
an accolade.
I remember back in the days, I think I was still in high school.
Yeah.
So my brother is 3 years older than me.
Sure.
So my brother's classmate had this girl.
Yeah.
So he sees other boys shappering him.
Yeah.
So he's like, my brother was telling me this story, this boy is insane. So he's like, and I'm shy. Yeah, she doesn't do anything wrong.
She doesn't do anything wrong.
You know? And then apparently, this one time, the girl babbed on, you put it on, man.
Serious?
Yeah.
So that was a crime, just because they babbed.
It was a crime. It was a crime. So it's very insane.
Sometimes we use those kinds of outbursts as an escape or as something to hide the inner stuff that's hurting us. And no one is there to call us out to say, but this behavior can't be normal.
It can't be normal. And now what happens in our communities?
This behavior
I'm sure you've seen many videos on social media.
Yeah.
Like here,
yes.
if I stand up now, I would be in so much trouble.
Wow.
I would be in so much trouble.
Certain area.
In certain areas, people will take phones.
And record. And record.
Yeah, and then they would even
as
poke.
If it's
to
encourage the behavior.
To encourage the behavior. We ran out of things to joke about. We ran out of things to play about.
My brother.
And then
this is very powerful.
The other thing we're not protecting, especially black families.
Yes.
We hide things. Because if this thing comes out,
it's embarrassing.
It's gonna be embarrassing. I've heard someone who was told, you cannot say that your uncle raped you. What are the people going to say?
What are the people going to say? It's embarrassing. Yeah.
What are the people going to say
so
about
you suppress.
us?
So you need to suppress all of those things. It can't be in public.
It can't be in public.
And like we were saying earlier, those things don't disappear. They just get bigger and bigger.
They get bigger and bigger.
And our scars, that's why most men don't go out and report, because our scars are invisible. They're very emotional.
Yeah.
And when you go to report, you're not going to report a blue eye.
No.
It's a scar that's why most men don't come out.
Exactly.
Because there's no proof, there's no evidence. So they hide it. And most of our sorrows are more emotional.
They're more emotional.
And you can't rely on conferences like this to come out.
No, you
because this is once in a year, once in a while. Once in a while.
I had this wellness session in Paarl last year, my hometown.
Oh yes, you were there.
Where I had this wellness session.
Yeah.
It's the venue.
In the community.
In the community. The venue is a sports center. So it's a multi-purpose center.
Multi-purpose, yes.
So there were a group of people who came to gym, and then I heard them talking, no, we gym was 6, there's no group here, aerobics and stuff. So I said, have you thought of having like a group where you just discuss mental health? Where you just discuss your well-being.
Your well-being.
You meet every Wednesday and talk about your well-being.
And it becomes a normal topic.
It becomes a normal topic. You meet every Wednesday.
And it's not taboo.
You drink tea, you eat cake, you talk about well-being. How are you? How is your boyfriend?
What are you working on? What are you grappling on? What are you grappling with?
What are you grappling with? You know, so as men,
what's bothering you?
What's bothering you?
You know, it can't always be about sports and cars and women.
It can't always be about sports and cars and drinks and shampoos and cars and things and Dubai. No,
it can't.
It needs to be about, let's bring it real.
The day-to-day stuff.
The day-to-day stuff. Yeah. I asked my daughter, who you're about to interview.
Yes, I must come to
because I've got this thing at home. It's okay. Who's your role model?
Njengaman.
Yeah, Njengaman.
Who you look up to?
And then she was there with her friends and stuff, and then they named, drop names, big names. I said, do you envision yourself having a one-on-one conversation with your role model?
Oh, wow. You asked her that?
Yeah, she was like, no.
So she sees them at the distance?
Yeah, she sees them at the distance. I said, do you think one day you will ever
have access to them?
Access to them. But yeah, so I said, you see, that's fantasy.
Yeah, it's fantasy.
That's fantasy.
It's almost illusion.
You need a real role model.
That you can feel and touch.
Pick up a call and say,
and access.
You need that. Calm down.
Because what are the chances? What are the chances that you will live to see them?
You know, it's fun. Have that. Have that role model. But have a role model that is closer to you.
That you can access.
That you can access. That you can reach and say, "Good Andile, can we talk?" Or put staying. We need to teach
umuntu accessible.
Yeah, umuntu accessible.
That we can feel and touch and smell.
Exactly.
And then that is within our reach.
Within our reach. Taxi drivers, I think everywhere. But I want to talk about Cape Town.
Sure.
Cape Town, there's a taxi rank.
Yeah.
Is a place where people go
Yeah.
when they've been attacked or something.
Wow.
You know, they've given up on South African police services.
Abasa report.
No, abasa report. But they know ukuthi ulerato if bangaba nemshayeli uyazi ukuthi uyangishaya ngizokukhombisa. Uzoya straight erankini. The taxi drivers will deal with me.
Will deal with you. Oh.
If ubanibani uSipho ingane yakho igqekezile kwami, I'm not calling the police, I'm going to the taxi rank.
It's the local community that will deal with.
So imagine if men can have that. Something like that. That something of that nature.
A community that addresses the ills of
the community, what neighbor would watch and all of that.
Yes.
But if we know that each and every community has got that for men.
Imagine that. I like the idea of mystery shopping and going to taverns, going to sports fields, actually buying something, sitting with it, and also just listening. It's almost eavesdropping, just listening. What are they talking about? And just propose a subject and just start a conversation. Start a conversation.
And
I like that.
And sometimes, how would
and change the narrative.
We would take another, let's say we're both actors, so we role players in this scenario. You walk in, you buy your whatever drink, you sit there.
And you sit somewhere else.
And then I sit somewhere else. You know?
Yeah.
And then I would walk past you and bump you and say, so, and then we start a conversation. People don't know that we know each other.
Oh.
Then we greet each other.
Yeah. Let's listen.
And then the conversation starts.
Now the conversation starts. That's where you. And then later we can say, oh, by the way, if you want to know more information about this, you can go there.
And then we wrap it up.
Now there's a gateway. There's a gateway.
Yeah, it's like a prank, but a positive prank.
But a positive prank, my friend. There's so much work that I like that you're doing, and I like this idea of working with your companies, with your network, with our network, going to communities and touching those ordinary lives. That touches my heart because the ordinary community where I come from doesn't have access to podcasts, to Instagram, to Facebook. They don't have access to that. But they are grappling with issues that we talk about.
Exactly.
I want to bring you. And again, I commit. Those of you watching, I commit. I'm going to bring him in my community where I come from, Gamapumulo, just to talk to those boys, to those men that are leading a day-to-day life and understanding what they're grappling with. And we're going to try and change one man at a time, one boy at a time. Keep subscribing to our network, and we like to hear more about what are you hearing, what are you seeing in the communities, and how you would like this network to impact the ordinary lives of men and boys out in communities. We can't wait to hear your views. Your last comments, my friend. Please go ahead.
One love, and I'm bringing him to Paarl in my hometown.
I can't wait.
We exchange.
I can't wait.
So beautiful, and also just to say to dads and young dads and single dads, more specifically out there, being a father is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Fight for that thing. And
take your space.
Yeah, take up space, man. Take up space, man. You might get to a point where you want to give up about this fathering thing, but fight.
It's worth it.
Fight. It's worth it. It's worth. There's no excuse. You know, it's worth it. If you have to come to us, we man up. We go find your child. You know, and don't allow anyone to take your child away from you.
No,
because at a later stage, it's gonna backfire.
It's a legacy.
You're gonna be an absent father.
And it's a legacy that's on the line.
And it's a legacy that's on the line.
And you don't want that.
Oh, brother.
Nebza.
Allah, man. We can talk till the morning.
This was beautiful. I know.
It's beautiful.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Thank you. Next time.
Bye.